All right, everybody, this is our training module on running the X32 Producer Series here for the student ministry. A couple key pieces. We're gonna go over inputs, outputs, controlling the in-ear monitors, and then controlling your recording for a typical Wednesday night service. So the first thing about the board is noticing that it's faders, but this is a 32 channel board and there's only 8 channels here. So how does that work? Well, that works with these pages. You have page 1, which is channels 1 through 8, page 2, which is 9 through 16, channel 3, which is 17 through 24, and page 4, which is 25 through 32. So instead of them being laid out like this, imagine them just stacked on top of each other. So you have to make sure the first thing you do is select the correct page so that you're controlling the correct instrument or vocal channel or mic or whatever it is that you're controlling. We also want to look at 2 major pieces that the board is split in half. These 8 faders and then these 8 faders. These 8 are all inputs and these 8 are largely all outputs. So this is controlling what comes into the board and this is controlling where that sound goes out to. And then obviously your final fader over here is your ultimate master volume, okay? So looking at inputs first. On channel 1 is, or page 1, excuse me, is all 8 of our instruments. So the first 4 channels are taken up with the drums. That is your kick drum, your snare drum, your overhead left, and your overhead right. Channel 5 is your keyboard. Channel 6 is electric guitar. Channel 7 is bass, and channel 8 is acoustic guitar. So with these, if I press the green select button at the top of a channel, that means that all the settings up top are settings for this selected channel. If I select the next channel, now all of these are controlling that channel. So that's what the select button is for. You can only ever select one channel at a time, okay? So you have your select button, then you have your meter, which is gonna show you the amount of volume and signal coming into that particular channel. So for example, if you're having an issue where the acoustic guitar is playing on stage, but you're not hearing it in the sound, you need to first look and see that you're getting signal. If there's no signal here for the acoustic guitar, that means the sound is not coming to the board. If you have sound, but nothing's coming out, then that's a board problem, okay? So the first thing you always wanna check when there's issues is, do I have signal coming in? Is this green light dancing up and down, okay? You will see green, yellow, and red on each of those channels with the signal coming in. You want to keep that lower into about that -12 decibel range, because once you get into the red is where you'll see the word clip, which is going to start clipping and making the input very dirty and crunchy, not the signal that you want. So you want to keep that in the green and yellow range. The next button down is solo, and solo is what we use to listen on the headphones to that specific channel. For example, if I want to just hear the kick drum, I can hit solo and the only thing in these in-ears for the sound tech will be the kick drum. Or if I want to hear all of the drums, I can select all of them. Or if I wanted to hear only the acoustic guitar, I could hear that so that I can fine tune my EQ for that acoustic channel. Does not matter what channel is selected, solo is going to always stay on until you hit the clear solo button over here that's flashing. If that is off, that means nothing is soloed. If you have multiple things on, then they're all on until you either turn them off individually or you hit clear solo and you turn the whole thing off, okay? So the next button down is your mute button. If you want to mute a specific channel. So for example, maybe the acoustic guitar is ready to unplug. So instead of hearing the loud ka-chunk when they unplug or plug in, you can simply hit the mute button and mute that channel, and then you don't hear that until you unmute it. If it's red, that means that channel is muted. Typically, we mute all channels that we are not using on a typical Wednesday or Sunday evening. The next down here is a label strip that we use to help quickly identify each channel on each page. We'll update this for you guys so that this is accurate. And then the only thing left in each channel is this volume meter. That goes from -infinity up to 0 and then up to a 10 decibel boost. We want to try and keep everything around 0 as best as possible. So a good place to start is at 0 and then adjust down or up to the mix's liking so that you can hear more or less of a particular vocalist or instrument, okay? So that is how the inputs work. There is also all the instruments on page 1. Page 2 currently is empty. Page 3 are all of our vocal mics. Mic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then BP is body pack, which is the wireless headset microphone, which is on channel 23. It's on the 3rd page, 7th fader, which would make it channel 23. There is nothing on page 4. The only other thing you may have to deal with the soundboard is this here that says aux in 1 through 6 and USB recording. There's a little sticker here that says comp, okay? So with this, on these channels are all of your auxiliary inputs. 2 of the auxiliary inputs are your click and your track, which are channels 1 and 2. So if I select this channel, I can control the master volume for click and the master volume for track, okay? This is gonna control the master volumes for both the house and the in-ears, okay? Then, if you come over to channels 5 and 6 on this page, you will have the computer channels. These are linked together, so whatever you do with one will happen with the other. Please do not try and separate these 2 faders. Leave them alone as they move up and down simultaneously. This is going to control all sound coming in from the ProPresenter computer. So if we're playing a video of any kind, that is the sound that you will hear. And if you want to turn that up, say you're playing Spotify on a Wednesday night or a Sunday morning, you will start Spotify, you'll come over here, click the aux in 1 through 6 page, and you will turn up the master volume for the computer, which will then send your input over to our outputs. So that is all of your quick need-to-know information about inputs. Now let's move to the output side of the board. So once you have all your settings set here, you have to tell these things where they need to go. That is where we have these channels. So the number one thing you need to know, firstly, is there are 4 pages here. You have DCA groups that we aren't necessarily using right now. You have bus 1 through 8, which is where our in-ear monitors sit. You have buses 9 through 16, which is where our reverb channel sits. And then you have matrix main C. This is your go-to button. When in doubt, hit this button. This is going to give you your main outputs, which are main speakers left and right. There are 3 main speakers at the front of the room. There's a left speaker, a middle speaker, and a right speaker. The right and middle speakers are paired together, and then left is on the far left of the room from the soundboard. But these are tied together, linked simultaneously. Don't try to separate them physically or manually, and this is going to control the overall output to those main 3 speakers, okay? So if you're in here listening and your main volume is up and you're like, I don't hear anything, it may be because you're not on the right page and this volume is not turned up. So no matter what you have here, if you have this maxed out, but you don't have this turned up, you're not gonna hear anything. It's telling it to come into the board, but it's not telling it to go out of the board until these are selected. So the first 2 channels are your main left and right. Again, we wanna try and EQ things with these at 0. Then the next one over, your 3rd channel, is your subwoofer. Our subwoofer sits on the stage in the left corner, and your subwoofer's volume is controlled independently. There's a volume set on the subwoofer, so make sure that the subwoofer is on if you're having issues, and make sure that the volume is turned up, that nobody has messed with that. Once that volume is set where it's not gonna overpower the speaker and break it, then you wanna come and make sure the master volume going to the sub is set correctly. Again, we wanna be somewhere around the 0 to -5 range, but again, you'll adjust that as needed for the event that you're doing. And then the 4th one here is your lobby. So we have a signal that signals can come in and they can go out, and they go out not inside this room, but upstairs in the hallway, out in the cafe, and out in the field, in the alleyway, out the side door. They all get the same signal. So if your lobby is on during worship practice, they're gonna hear everything that goes into a microphone. So if somebody says a joke or says something funny or sings really bad, everyone outside is going to hear that. If you're in here during the middle of the workday and you're playing songs, for example, whatever you're listening to in the room is going to be heard outside if the lobby here is turned on. These also have mute buttons. So if they're red, they are muted. Typically we mute the lobby, except for when we're playing Spotify before services. So that is our primary outputs, are the main left and right, your sub and your lobby on main matrix C. That is your key button, okay? Now, we also have in-ear monitors. These are the wireless packs that the people on stage are wearing so they can hear certain things in their in-ears, so they're not waiting on the sound to bounce off the back wall and come back to them from the room, so that they can all stay in the same time, tempo, and key, hopefully. So some of the buttons that are going to be your best friends are these fast buttons here with labels, okay? All of our in-ear packs share mixes. So in-ears 1 and 2 share the same mixes, 3 and 4 share mixes, 5 and 6 share mixes, and 7 and 8 share mixes, meaning that what one hears, the other hears. So if you have a keyboarder and a drummer on in-ear packs 7 and 8, they're gonna hear the exact same mix. So if one wants vocals and the other doesn't, it doesn't matter. They're gonna get the exact same signal, okay? So if I want to control in-ear number 1, then I'm going to select IEM 1 and 2, that first button. And now you notice all of these things changed because I went from changing the room, main matrix C, to now I'm affecting the in-ears on 1 and 2. And you'll also see this button here that's light up and flashing that says sends on fader. Please do not turn that off. Do not get that bumped. When you press this button, all you need to do is change what they want to hear. So for example, inner mix 1 and 2. I've hit the button, it's yellow. So now I want to say they need more vocals. I'm gonna hit my vocal channel, which is page 3, 17 through 24. And I'm gonna come here and look. And right now, all of these microphones are on, okay? Nothing is muted. And let's say that they want to hear the lead vocalist who is on microphone number 3. Well, right now, microphone number 3 is the highest of these microphones, but maybe I need to increase it a little more. Maybe the person singing on microphone 3 is also in-ear number 1 and 2, and they want to hear more of themselves. So I hit 1 and 2, and I turn the volume up until they give me the thumbs up and tell me that that is good. But maybe they also want to control the drums as well. Maybe in-ear 1 and 2 needs less drums. Well, what do? Do I go back and hit this button? No, because if I hit this button again, it's going to turn it off and I'll be affecting the room. So I leave that button on and I come over here and I change my page of inputs. Now I'm on the instrument inputs and I'm looking at channels 1 through 4. So I would grab all 4 of these and just bring them down a little bit until the person gives me the thumbs up that that's a good level. Maybe we get through the first song, we get to the second song, and it's a little bit louder song and they need more drums now. All you have to do is make sure that your 1 and 2 is selected, come back to that instrument channel and slide these back up, and now they have more signal for drums in their ears. It is the same process with the next set of buttons, the next set of buttons, the next set of buttons. All of these are your in-ear monitors. One other thing that running the soundboard you will be navigating, that is how to control what the computer hears on the recording for the stream, right? Because if you don't control the stream, you're gonna get a very bad signal. So we have a button here, number 8, for stream. When I click that, everything changes. And as you can see right now, all of these instruments are muted for the stream. So we wanna make sure those are on because we want the stream to be able to hear the drums, keys, electric guitar, bass, and acoustic guitar. So we wanna make sure all of our instruments are on, come down to vocals, all the vocals are on, that's good. So now we're going to make sure we're listening with our ears in the headphones to what is going on in the stream. Now, stream is gonna stay lit. This button is still flashing, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to bus 1 through 8 on the output side. When I click 1 through 8, everything highlights, and if you see this little tab right here for this channel says stream, and this green button is selected. I'm going to hit solo. Why am I hitting solo? I'm clicking solo because that's what I want to hear in the headphones. So that now, when I go over here to control the stream, I am listening actively to what the computer is recording. So whatever I hear is what I'm recording. So I can mix this, and even though this is different than the room, I'm controlling what the computer is going to record, okay? But now I need to get out of this. I don't want to hear that anymore. So what do I do? That's right, we clear the solo. Once we clear the solo, this is no longer going to hear anything. It's going to be empty. We can sit those to the side, and now our stream is still selected. So if you're not paying attention, you'll start making changes to the room, but you'll actually be affecting the stream, and you'll have to go through the process again to re-EQ it. So you don't want to do that. Once you're finished with something, you always want to turn it off. Now we're back to controlling the room, okay? So that is your inputs, your outputs, and your in-ear monitors. The one last thing I want you to know is how to record a Wednesday night or Sunday morning service. Most weeks, you're going to be looking at this display screen, which is just going to have some random pictures and things on it, and you're not really going to know what you're looking at, okay? Well, when I tell you, hey, it's time to record the service, or the person running ProPresenter tells you it's time to start the service, you come to this section right here that says USB, data audio. It has a USB drive and a view button. So we're going to click the view button, which is going to change your screen, and you'll see a tape recorder in the middle of the screen. You want to make sure that the flash drive is plugged into here. Unfortunately, we don't have one for the purpose of this video, but you'll plug it in, and what you will see on these next tracks is you will see previously recorded services, or you may see nothing if we've cleared the jump drive. And on these buttons, you will see stop, play, rewind, fast forward, record, and play track. Your job will be to start the service by clicking this button down. This turns and clicks. So you will click it down and you'll see the tape recorder start running. That means that it is recording what is coming into the board under your stream tab. Once the service is over, you're going to click that button again, which will say stop, and it will automatically save it into that setting. So that is how you start and stop a recording with a jump drive for a typical Wednesday night service. Now, if for some reason you want to record this to find out what it's going to sound like before you start the service, maybe on a Wednesday you want to record practice, listen to practice before we do the service so you can make some changes in real time. You're going to record it, then you're going to stop it, and then you'll hit this button that says play track. When you hit play track, that track that you just recorded, or the one you have selected, will play in the house, in the room. So then, in the real time, you can make some changes to that recording that will show on the next recording. So that is your inputs, your outputs, your in-ear monitors, and how to record a service. One last note, everyone on the stage is wearing in-ear monitors. They're wearing a set of headphones. But we still need to be able to talk to them. So how do you talk to the people on the stage? Well, you use this corded microphone that is right here beside the soundboard, and you'll press this button in the top corner that says Talk Back A. When you press it, it turns yellow. When you let go, it turns off. If you hold it down, anything you say into the microphone will be heard in their in-ears. You can control the overall volume with this talk level volume here.